Welcome. Here is the card that we're going to be studying today. Please try to visualize this as much as possible, and we will go into the description of this card, the Rebel. Whatever you are, do yourself the good of being a better one. The powerful and authoritative figure in this card is clearly the master of his own destiny. On his shoulder is an emblem of the sun, and the torch he holds in his right hand symbolizes the light of his own hard won truth. Whether he is wealthy or poor, the rebel is really an emperor because he has broken the chains of society's repressive conditioning and opinions. He has formed himself by embracing all the colors of the rainbow, emerging from the dark and formless roots of his unconscious past and growing wings to fly into the sky. His very way of being is rebellious, not because he is fighting against anybody or anything, but because he has discovered his own true nature and is determined to live in accordance with it. The eagle in his the eagle is actually his spirit animal, a messenger between earth and sky. So beautiful. The rebel challenges us to be courageous enough to take responsibility for who we are and to live our truth. It's really beautiful when you talk about messenger from what's going on in your thoughts and what's grounding you into reality, right? You need to be grounded in reality and be able to take a step back and having a vantage point. Advantage, to give yourself an advantage, is adding vantage to your perception. So the eagle enables you to see things, be like, wait a minute, what's the pattern of things going on here as you're grounded into this living world? And that allows you to see the things that have been holding you back. And now you're awakening to your true nature. And you have freed yourself from the things that had in the past a grasp over your liberty to be who you've always been. People, are afraid, very much afraid of those who know themselves. They have a certain power, a certain aura, and a certain magnetic, well, I was going to say a certain magnetic personality, but they have a certain power, a certain aura, and a certain magnetism, a charisma that can take out alive young people from the traditional imprisonment. The enlightened man cannot be enslaved. That is the difficulty. And he cannot be imprisoned. Every genius who has known something of the inner is bound to be a little difficult to be absorbed. He is going to be an upsetting force. The masses don't want to be disturbed, even though they may be in misery. They are in misery, but they are accustomed to the misery, and anybody who is not miserable looks like a stranger. The enlightened man is the greatest stranger in the world. He does not seem to belong to anybody. No organization confines him, no community, no society, no nation. This is a very strong part of my aura. And that is something that I was just born with. That's when we talk about archetypal energies, right? You could find that in me. And I don't need to fight people. I just need to fight at least for my wellness. And that's why I like the term, the wow factor is warrior of wellness. Wow. There's something that just wows me. And the discouragement I had at the beginning is by noticing these things that had a control over me, I was trying to like in an imperfectly perfect way, with the best I could. I was trying to explain it to people, but because these were new discoveries to me, I might have not been using the best relatable English terms so that people could really understand things for themselves. But the thing is that maybe it was perfect what I was saying. It's just the reality of the people don't want to be disturbed. They don't want to know that what they're doing could be wrong, right? They're accustomed to what makes them miserable, yet they kind of like dream that one day they could just force themselves through and feel better. But in reality, it's like to feel better, you just need to feel better what is holding you back. And when you understand that, you don't have to fight anyone or force yourself to do anything. You get pulled towards what makes most sense to you. Get pulled to what you love most and allow yourself to pull yourself together in fitness, in better sleep, in managing your wellness levels throughout the day, and how you fuel that wellness itself so that you're really surrounded and fully immersed in a world that enables you to feel at home with the wellness that always belonged to you. That is not what is that is not what we are surrounded by in our everyday lives. And that's what makes it difficult, because we're like, wow, we feel like we won't be accepted if we kind of start listening to what our hearts really want. So it takes courage to create the path that leads you to the wellness that belongs to you. You will have to feel like, well, you'll have to accept that there's a possibility that people will have a hard time absorbing you, but it's okay. Do it for yourself, and do it in secret if you have to. But when you go out there, you're good, and you don't have to compromise anything for that wellness. Another reason why you're rebellious. So people are like, wait a minute, why aren't you eating that pizza? You want to fight? You like they feel offended, even though you're just taking care of yourself. You didn't judge them. You didn't say anything about them. You're just good, right? It's okay. You could expect that, and that's the courage it's going to take for you to not get discouraged. Do you feel like you have to push yourself to do things that would make you feel more proud of yourself, such as with your lifestyle habits and the way your body looks and the way you feel in your mind and body, right? Would you like to feel more pulled towards those things? I'm just one phone call away. You could send me a message, and we could definitely take the time to talk about it. And based on what we talk about, we could generalize the concepts and the principles that were brought up, and that could share this with other people in an anonymous way. So we get to help a lot of people when you take care of yourself first. So you can see here the beauty of the chains breaking, the wings. It's like a spiritual power. So the rebellious person actually develops, is more aligned to have real spiritual power, to be able to fly and float over without effort the problems. And look, you have a torch. You're proud of yourself. So you have to fight for your wellness as if it was a selfish thing. But when you're renewed, your vitality is flowing because your heart is beating for the right things, then whatever you extend to anyone else feels much better to receive. Take care, everyone. Until next time.